On this week's episode of Ride the Lightning, the Tesla and EV podcast, Tesla's longer and more luxurious Model Y L has launched in Australia and New Zealand, putting it one step closer to going global. Plus, Lucid announces not one, but three new, more affordable midsize vehicles. Tesla's V3 Superchargers have been retired, and more. What's happening, friends, alongside both Daisy the Boxer and Lily the Silly Labrador Puppy, who are both looking longingly out the window, sitting on the tops of the couch cushions as they do so. My name's Ryan McCaffrey. Welcome to Ride the Lightning. It's your weekly Tesla and EV podcast, publishing on March 22nd, 2026. This is episode 555, which isn't just a palindrome. I don't know if there's a special name for it, but it's like an ultimate palindrome where it's all the same number, just all the same. It's 555, otherwise known as the first three digits of any phone number in any movie ever. 555. And I hope you are doing well. I am having a fantastic day. In fact, I'm having a great week because we've had an extremely rare week of actual summer. Now, for those of you that aren't aware, San Francisco itself, which is where I live, pretty much doesn't really get a traditional summer where it's warm out and you're wearing shorts and a t-shirt, and it tends to be chilly here all the time, even in July. The old Mark Twain quote about the coldest winter he ever spent was a summer in San Francisco, there is truth rooted in that. But this week, weirdly, which was technically up until today as I'm recording, winter. Actually, I don't even remember winter. Spring either starts today or tomorrow, the 20th or the 21st. But anyway, this week we have had just a freakishly warm week where it's been in the 80s all week, which means even at night it's been super nice. So that puts me in a good mood. I like warm weather, not the hot weather that I had in Arizona for a long time. That's a bridge too far for me. But man, this just like more sort of traditional summer, 80 something degree weather. I've been having an excellent week, and I hope you have been too. I've got plenty to cover for you this week in the world of Tesla and EVs, and I wanted to start with a quick update from last week's episode, and I want to thank listener Mark as well as Marshall from Atlanta. Mark emailed in and Marshall called in, and they both pointed out a key piece of information about the launch edition Rivian R2, that performance edition, that I absolutely should have included last week but failed to do so. So I want to apologize for that, and that information is that the 2026 run of Rivian R2s will not include the AI chip or the LiDAR hardware that are necessary to fully maximize the Autonomy Plus package that launch edition includes. And before you ask, because of course it's the next logical question, no, it will not be upgradable later. You cannot retrofit those upgrades later. So the hardware needed for where Rivian aims to go with autonomy is expected to start going into R2s in early 2027. So again, my apologies for omitting that, because for any of you that are considering purchasing a launch edition R2, that is a key piece of information to be factoring in. So wanted to get that out there. Apologies that it's 1 week late, but definitely wanted to go ahead and mention that. Thank you again to Mark and Marshall. Also, on a similar subject, while I'm talking about little additions, little updates from last week, a friend of mine at Audi, a friend of mine I've known for a long time, he reached out to me to, very politely, to his credit, because he could have been a little meaner about it, but he's always super nice. He very politely reached out to let me know that I probably should have given Audi a bit more credit last week for their embrace of electrification. He gave me a statistic that he said is public, And so that's why I'm going to mention it right now. He said that last year, over 25% of Audi's new vehicle sales were EVs. So I think that does merit an apology from me and a kudos to Audi. Because that's, again, we're talking about a legacy automaker that's, got a reputation for being a driver's car. And so for a full quarter of their new car sales to be electric, to be pure EVs, that does suggest that Audi's doing a pretty darn good job and offering some compelling EVs, whether it's e-trons or the e-tron SUVs or the GT sedan, etc. So wanted to mention that as well. Now, moving along to this week's new topics, as always, there are plenty of them. We did get an update on the next generation Tesla Roadster's upcoming re-reveal, but unfortunately, the update isn't that the invites went out this week for the event occurring on April 1st. That was what I was hoping I would be able to say this week, but that is not the case. Tesla CEO Elon Musk posted on X in response to someone else posting about that day. There was a day earlier this week. I don't exactly recall which day it was, but one day earlier this week was the anniversary of the original Roadster going into production, which of course was back in 2008. So I guess that would make it the 18th anniversary of that. And so Elon responded to that post saying, quote, "New Roadster unveil probably in late April," end quote. Then a few hours later, he responded to somebody else on X who posted more or less the same thing, the same sentiment, not the exact words, but just mentioning the anniversary of the original Roadster entering production. And then this time, Elon said very similarly, quote, "New Roadster unveil hopefully next month. It will be a banger next level," end quote. So the key words there, of course, are probably in that first post and hopefully in that second post. And as I've said, I appreciate the qualifiers rather than promises that then become easier to miss, but I suppose it probably won't surprise anybody listening at this point that the April 1st date that Elon gave out 4 months ago at the annual shareholder meeting in early November did not end up happening. I'll note that plenty of people online in the Tesla community pointed out that it would be a very Elon Musk move to end up doing the Roadster re-reveal on, you guessed it, 4/20. And I looked it up. That's a Monday this year. And historically, as I've pointed out before, Tesla events have, for the last number of them actually, been on Thursdays for whatever reason. Just whether it's shareholder meeting or the We Robot event or the Cybertruck unveil or even the Cybertruck launch, I believe, was a Thursday as well. It's just Thursdays tend to be Tesla's preferred day for this stuff for whatever reason. In fact, Thursday is also the day that they typically make changes to the design studio, to the website. So if they raise a price, lower a price, add an option, delete an option, add a new paint color, whatever it is, Thursday tends to be their day. So anyhow, 4/20 is a Monday, so it's possible. Like if it were a Sunday, I would say no, we can probably rule out 4/20 if it's a Sunday, but Monday, it could happen, especially if Elon wants to just embrace the 4/20 joke, which is very much his sense of humor. So it's not impossible. And to be perfectly honest, I would love for it to happen on 4/20 because that would be sooner than late April. 4/20 is still arguably in mid-April. But at this point, we'll just have to wait and see if it happens in April at all. Now, presumably, Tesla is either still trying to get the presumably crazy SpaceX cold gas thruster stuff dialed in for the quote-unquote most epic demo ever, or, as I very wildly speculated last week, and I want to emphasize that was pure speculation on my part, that perhaps Franz and his team need more time to get the Cyberban prototype, the Cyber SUV prototype ready to be the one more thing surprise at the Roadster re-reveal. So time will tell. We'll find out sometime in the next couple months, I hope. And I went ahead and made this the subject of this week's Patreon poll, because you all know that I'm unhealthily obsessed with the new Tesla Roadster, because I have the extraordinary privilege of having won one of them. It's a car I would never have in the course of normal life. It's my station in life would never in a million years allow me to have that car. So since I was in the right place at the right time 8 years ago, I'm obviously very much looking forward to the day when that car becomes real. I know plenty of people still believe it will never become real, and we'll see if they're right. But there are, as I've been pointing out on recent episodes of the podcast, there have been tangible signs that this car is actually going to get made. So anyway, this week's Patreon poll, which a reminder is open to everybody. You don't have to be backing me. You don't have to be supporting me on Patreon. You just have to stop by my Patreon page each week to vote in each week's poll. And the question was simply, do you think the Roadster re-reveal will happen in April? Now that we've gotten this, hopefully, probably late April update from Elon. Because, again, I cannot be relied upon as an unbiased opinion when it comes to Roadster things. I do my best, right, to stay objective, but I wanted to see what you guys thought here, because I would vote yes in this poll, even though many of you would probably laugh at me for doing that. Like, I can't believe you're falling for it again, Ryan. And sure enough, the majority of you that voted, and it was just under 300 votes in this one. So again, thank you to everybody that took the time to stop by and vote in the poll. 57% of you voted no, I think it'll get pushed back again, to just 43% of you that voted yes, Elon probably can't resist doing it on 420, but I think it'll happen sometime in April. So there you go. That was this week's Patreon poll. Be sure to check back this week for a new poll question. I don't know what it is yet, because we'll see what the news topics are looking like as I start to put together episode 556 this week. All right, next up here, the Tesla charging team noted a milestone this week, posting on social, on their X account, that they have built their last V3 Supercharger cabinet. On X, they said, quote, Gigafactory New York built their last V3 Supercharger cabinet, marking the end to 15,000 plus V3 cabinets over 7 years. V4 cabinet line is ramping up, end quote. So I'm really only mentioning this here to express my surprise that this hadn't already happened. Like, my honest question, and I'm not trying to troll, I'm not trying to be mean, but I genuinely am curious here, where have V3 cabinets been going in recent months? Because every supercharger project that I've covered here on the podcast, or every new station I've seen here in my neck of the woods, or quite frankly, just from not even my neck of the woods, I follow the Tesla charging account on X, and every time they open a new station, they make a post to honor it, to note it. And I feel like every single station that I've seen has been doing V4s. So I quite frankly thought that the V3s had already been retired. But anyway, the point now would be, here is to the V4s populating the globe so quickly that one day soon it will become weird to even see a V3 or V2 supercharger. The V4s, as you all know, are capable of the highest output, though for now you need a Cybertruck to take full advantage of that. Although, speaking of the new Roadster, I would suspect that the new Roadster will be able to also max out at 500 kilowatts on those V4 chargers. And if in fact Cyberban is real, as my more reliable source had tipped me off about last week, as I talked about on last week's podcast. So if that Cyberban rumor proves true, then that vehicle will almost certainly also be able to take advantage of those higher 500 kilowatt peak charging rates of the V4 cabinets, because the Cyberban would presumably be built on the same platform that the Cybertruck is built on. However, more commonly than those two cars, even whether or not the vehicles can take advantage of the 500 kilowatt peak charging rate, what is going to matter to way, way more people about the V4s is that the V4s, if you've not encountered one in the real world yet, you certainly will, but the V4s are physically designed and physically installed in the parking spot to be more convenient for non-Tesla EVs to plug into, thereby making the V4s of, in my opinion, particular importance to the overall EV movement. Speaking of charging, though, I hope that once the Cybercab launch happens, again, supposedly next month, if in fact there will be an event, as historically Tesla does launch events for vehicles when they're actually entering full production, I hope that at that event we hear about the wireless charging of the Cybercab. I mean, maybe we wouldn't if Tesla is just going to own all of the initial fleet and they're going to be charged on prototype versions of that wireless charger inside secure Tesla facilities. But eventually, as that car is sold to the public, which Elon, in not a direct bet with Marquez Brownlee, but Marquez said, if Tesla delivers any Cybercabs to customers in 2026, I'll shave my head. That's what he said. And then Elon responded to that on X, saying that they would deliver to a customer, like a real regular person customer, in 2026. So anyway, we are eventually going to need to see those wireless chargers deployed in the real world. So we'll see if that's something we get to learn about in, the next month or so. Before I get into this week's main stories, I wanted to mention this week's Lightning Round mini episode over on my Patreon. For those of you who are kindly supporting me at that most popular tier of the Patreon, which is that $10 per month tier, this week's Lightning Round episode was about it was the March mailbag, where I answered all of your questions in that March edition of what I'm hoping will become the monthly mailbag. This was the third one now, and I've been having a great time with it. I really enjoy hearing from all of you and hearing your questions. So the topics on this one included Elon's 10 million FSD subscriber goal as part of his new pay package. Another topic was features from other EVs that I would love for Tesla to steal. The Model Y L came up. I was asked how many R2s that I think Rivian will sell this year and next, and a whole bunch more. It ended up being about half an hour, maybe like 35 minutes. It was a good, meaty mini episode this week. So if you'd like to hear that, as well as the other 184, yes, this was the 185th Lightning Round. If you join me on Patreon, support me over there at patreon.com/Tesla podcast. At that most popular $10 per month tier, you will not only get access to each week's new Lightning Round, but you'll get access to the entire 185 mini episode backlog, the whole archive of them as well. And you'll get the ad-free early access to each week's episode as well, which is the perk at the first tier, which is the $5 per month tier. So again, all the information about the rewards you get and all that stuff is found on my Patreon page at patreon.com/Tesla podcast. I hope you'll check it out. Hopefully, whether it's this week, next month, my goal is to earn your Patreon support. Next up this week is the headline story about the Model Y L launching in Australia and New Zealand. Tesla has released a new deep dive video on the Model Y L. I saw this posted by our Tesla tipster friend Sawyer Merritt over on X, and I wanted to go ahead and play you the audio of this. It's a 4-minute, 17-second clip, and the reason I want to play it is because even without the visuals, there's some good stuff in here. I know there's so much interest in this vehicle. I've certainly been talking it up every chance I get in terms of hopefully it's going to come here. As I said at the top of last week's show, my reliable source, a source that anyway has been reliable in the past, told me that the Model Y L is coming to the United States in September. So we shall see if that proves out correct. But for now, here is that new deep dive video on the just launched in Australia and New Zealand Model Y L.
Today we're looking at the all-new Tesla Model Y L.
Model Y excels as a global safety leader.
The core vision with this vehicle was to provide an ultimate family vehicle for Tesla.
We worked together with the China team to conceptualize and develop this program in China to provide a vehicle that has more interior space, more versatility and utility for our customers.
我们要打造的绝不是一台普通的6座 SUV， 而是一台适合全家旅行又绝不妥协的特斯拉。
We stretched the wheelbase by 150mm, and it actually gave us a chance to redesign and stretch the whole roofline to make it look more elegant and premium.
We have a larger cabin, a longer wheelbase, a longer rear overhang, a vehicle that is a little bit taller, very practical for families, giving a unique 3-row, 6-person experience.
Interior space, comfort and versatility was obviously the #1 priority for this vehicle.
In the first row seat, we've added a thigh extender. There's a button on the side of the seat that allows you to extend the front of the seat forward to give you more support on the back of your legs.
A new 16-inch front display and a wireless phone charger that now has active cooling that we've integrated into the vehicle.
更长的轴距，更高的车身，给第二排座椅的布局提供了更多的可能性。
It allows the second row seats to be these captain's chairs, which give you a much more premium experience in the second row.
We have a deployable armrest. It's a single touch to raise it and a single touch to lower it. And we have ventilation, heat and cool in the seats as well. We've added an additional HVAC vent, so you have air conditioning and heat to the third row. This vehicle has a premium audio experience. We now have 19 speakers overall.
We wanted to design a color space that would work towards a serene and calm and still very sophisticated and modern.
For the exterior, we introduced a whole new warm gray color palette.
Tesla is that car that you feel very connected to. You can have fun driving it. It's precise, it's stable. When you drive a bit faster, it doesn't scare you. Be the best Tesla when it comes to the comfort experience.
The rear tyre on the vehicle has both a larger diameter and is wider, which is great for ride comfort for the people sitting in the back of the vehicle. We also redesigned the lower rear bodywork here, which helps the overall aerodynamic efficiency of the vehicle. At the back of the vehicle, we have this new spoiler. It provides up to 100 kilograms of downforce on the rear tyres, so we have this little extra brake here, which helps separate the air as it flows around the vehicle.
Model Y L 比换新3的风阻系数还要低，越低的风阻代表越低的能耗，更多的续航，这是真真切切客户能够感知到的。
Hidden within the new spoiler is the high-level brake light. By hiding it within here, it means we can take it out of the glass, which gives more headroom for the third-row passengers, as well as better rearward visibility for the driver. Model Y L features a larger tailgate than Model Y, making it much more practical and usable for people loading stuff in and out of the vehicle.
We've tried to make the trunk space super functional. So to get the full access of all the storage space in the car, you can actually do our fold flat feature. Allows you to fold flat from the trunk, both the second and third row.
Another aspect for design for family is really safety. Across the world, in all of the ratings agencies, and we also apply our data-driven safety methodology to the Model Y, and we've expanded it on this vehicle here. Side crashes further improved. We have new curtain airbag with additional coverage of the rear window and belt line to protect our second row occupants in case of offset impacts and side impacts and rollovers. And we've developed a new third row airbag to protect the third row occupant from those similar accidents as well.
在第二排座椅下面这个位置增加了一根车身座椅横梁，在发生侧面，特别是偏后门这个区域的碰撞的时候，这根横梁可以让我们整车的笼式结构变得更加坚固，给我们乘客提供更好的保护。
When we set out designing Model Y L, We wanted to keep a lot of the spirit and great aspects of the original Model Y, so that it has all of the true Tesla DNA in it, whilst being an all-new product.
What jumped out at me with this video is that I had not previously noticed that the third brake light was relocated and integrated into the underside of the spoiler on the Model YL in order to free up more headroom in the third row. That is pretty cool. What a neat little change that is over the other Model Ys. One of the non-English parts that you'd have captions for, you'd have subtitles for in English if you were watching the video, mentions that the drag coefficient is actually lower on this car than on the new Model 3, which is pretty wild. Also, in that video / audio that I just played, the cooling function on the wireless phone charging pad, that's pretty nice. And I mention that specifically because I imagine all of you that have that wireless charging pad built into your Tesla, which at this point is probably most of you, you'd have to have a, let's see, well, 2018 for sure didn't have it because our 2018 Model 3 doesn't have it. But if you've got a Tesla built this decade, you have a wireless phone charging pad built into your car. And thus, those of you that do have it have probably experienced the phone getting too hot to charge if it sits on that charging pad for too long. So that is a nice feature as well, that cooling built into that. So this thing really, meaning the Model YL, really seems like just an even more awesome version of an already great vehicle. And I can't wait till it gets to the United States, assuming that my source is correct and it's going to be September. Now, it obviously isn't quite in the same class as the R1S, the Rivian, or larger, like full-size SUVs. It's still a mid-size, crossover SUV, just a bit longer. But I think it, as I've said before, it should fill some of that void that's going to be left behind by the Model X's retirement. Next this week, a new Tesla patent reveals an air suspension system used to boost wireless charging efficiency. Saw this one on Drive Tesla Canada, who wrote, Tesla has published a new patent that sheds light on how the company could significantly improve wireless charging efficiency for future electric vehicles. The filing outlines a system that uses a vehicle's air suspension to automatically adjust its position during wireless charging, helping ensure optimal energy transfer between the ground pad and the vehicle. The patent, titled Dynamic Adjustment for Wireless Charging Coupling Coefficients, and first shared on X by user SETI_Park, who I just mentioned in a patent thing from the Roadster seat thing from last week or the week before. This patent was published this week, March 12th, 2026, or I guess the beginning of this week, though Tesla originally filed it in August of 2025 with priority dating back to September of 2024. The technology describes a closed-loop system that measures the magnetic alignment between a charging pad on the ground and a corresponding receiver mounted on the vehicle. Wireless charging relies heavily on the alignment of two electromagnetic coils. When the coils are perfectly aligned, power can transfer efficiently. However, even small misalignments caused by uneven pavement or imperfect parking can reduce efficiency and generate excess heat. Tesla's proposed solution allows the vehicle to correct those issues on its own. According to the patent, the system first measures the magnetic relationship between the charging pad and the vehicle coil using diagnostic signals. From this data, it calculates a value known as the coupling coefficient, a measurement that defines how efficiently power can be transferred between the two coils. If the value falls outside the optimal range, the system automatically adjusts the vehicle's air suspension. The car may lower, raise, or tilt slightly in order to improve the alignment between the coils. The process repeats until the charging system detects that the coupling coefficient has reached the desired range, at which point wireless charging begins. The patent also describes the possibility of small vehicle movements to improve alignment. If needed, the system could instruct the car to move slightly forward or backward to better position itself over the charging pad, which I imagine, it's only going to be moving itself a matter of inches. So it's not like the car is going to be suddenly finding its way over to another parking spot and you're going to wonder what ghosts are driving your car. Anyway, to finish this story up, Tesla notes that this process could rely on autonomous or semi-autonomous driving capabilities to make those adjustments. Well, for my part, this sounds very cool and also very much like something Tesla's absolutely going to do, something they are definitely going to use in their wireless charging systems in vehicles, or at least the ones that have an air suspension. It is a first principles problem-solving approach. It's classic Tesla, if you ask me. But this brings up my big question. Does the Cybercab have an air suspension for this very reason? And the reason that, for me, it's very much in question is because the Cybercab is supposedly a $30,000 car. So by that metric alone, you would absolutely not expect the Cybercab to have an air suspension. But the Cybercab is, by a long shot, the car that would most benefit from this patent, given that it's supposedly built entirely around wireless charging. And in fact, when I went to look into this, Google's AI summary says that the Cybercab does have an air suspension, citing the following. It says, quote, "Early detailed views of the underbody showed a dedicated air tank, which Park Huynh Goon at HMG Business Research Institute identified as part of this specialized setup." That was what the Google AI summary said. However, I have to couch that a bit by saying I could not find any actual links taking me directly to that information. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. Like, the AI summary did link off to a couple things, but none of them were from that quote from the person at HMG Business Research Institute. So just want to add that asterisk there, because we know that AI is not perfect, right? When you search something, it's not always giving you 100% correct or factual information. So I don't want to sit here and confidently pass that info along to all of you as if it's fact just yet, because I don't suddenly want to I don't want to be the person that starts a game of telephone that says, oh, the Cybercab's got an air suspension, when maybe it might actually not. So I just want to be a little overly cautious there. That said, plenty of people on social media, when I was, again, trying to dig into this, are already out there assuming that the Cybercab has an air suspension specifically because of this patent. But then again, you know what assuming does. So I guess we will find out soon enough, given that, again, we should have a launch event coming up for this thing in about another month or so. And we're hopefully all going to be able to start riding around in these vehicles ourselves in that same time, at least probably in Austin to start with. And before I get to the other EV news, I've got one more Tesla news story for you, and it's a good news story. Tesla has been named by the United States government in a $4.3 billion battery deal that will yield American-made cells. I saw this story on Teslarati, who wrote, "The U.S. Department of the Interior named Tesla as the stakeholder in the LG Energy Solutions blockbuster $4.3 billion battery supply agreement. Tesla and LG are expanding their partnership to build an LFP prismatic battery cell manufacturing facility in Lansing, Michigan, launching production next year in 2027. The announcement, made as part of the Indo-Pacific Energy Security Summit results, ends months of speculation. Quote, American-made cells will power Tesla's Megapack 3 energy storage systems produced in Houston, creating a robust domestic battery supply chain, notes a press release on the U.S. Department of the Interior website. Tesla has long utilized China's contemporary Amperix technology, that would be CATL, the world's largest LFP battery maker, as one of its primary suppliers. That relationship made financial sense for years, considering that the Chinese LFP cells were cheap, abundant, and reliable. But with escalated tariffs on Chinese imports and an increasingly growing Tesla energy business that's particularly reliant on LFP cells for products, including its Megapack battery storage units designed for utilities and large-scale commercial projects. Deliveries are set to begin in 2027 and run through mid-2030, and as grid storage demand accelerates, reliable U.S.-made battery supply is no longer a future ambition. It is becoming a core requirement of the country's energy strategy. Thank you to Teslarati for that story. Well, as you heard there, it seems like this will not necessarily directly affect us at the consumer level, since these cells are not being targeted for cars or for home power walls. Instead, it's for the grid scale stuff, like the Megapack and the newer Mega Block, presumably as well. But hey, it's still, as the article notes, a good thing for the clean energy movement, because it should help insulate both these cells and the products that they are going into a little bit from any political policy that may come along, no matter who's in power. And certainly true to Tesla's statement from years back. Remember, you've heard it a few times over the years with Tesla saying that they want as many cells as they can get from everyone. Well, guess what? They'll now have this LFP plant with LG in Michigan. They'll have the Gigafactory 1 in Reno, Gigafactory Nevada, with Panasonic, and they'll have the 4680 plant down in Austin, and not battery cells, but they'll have the AI5 chip fabs in Texas with Samsung. So it is in Tesla's best interest to be friends with everybody and have large-scale projects going with everyone, just in case at any point in time, for any reason, anything gets weird with any of them. Like they have a financial issue at their company or a leadership change or anything along those lines. This is Tesla kind of casting a wide net here, making sure they don't have all their eggs in one basket. And we've reached the midpoint or so of the podcast, which means it's time to mention my friends at Accelerate Auto. They sell that awesome X-Care extended warranty option, not just for Teslas, but for any EVs. And again, timing matters if you're going to purchase an extended warranty. When it comes to EV coverage, it's not as much about if you buy that extended warranty, it's more about when. So coverage is generally more cost advantaged when it's purchased before your factory warranty ends rather than after. That's because pricing, eligibility, and available options change with time and mileage, even if nothing's wrong with the car. X-Care is here to help EV owners understand where they are now, what changes later if you wait till down the road to think about that extended warranty option, when it makes sense to act, etc. You can talk directly with their Tesla and EV experts rather than a generic call center. You will get a human being if you call them up. Ask me how I know. I've called them up and I've talked to them. And again, I'm a 2-time customer now. I had a 3-year policy on our 2018 Model 3 Performance that went into effect. I got it pretty shortly after the factory warranty expired. And then I went ahead and did another 3-year after that 3-year was up. And I really appreciate having the peace of mind because, the cars are great, but it's the thing where if Like on a Model S, if one of the self-presenting door handles goes, well, guess what? Your warranty just paid for itself. If anything happened to my screen, my center screen in my Model 3, it would pay for itself. Let's just, again, there's a million different reasons why you might find an extended warranty to be a good idea. And really, of course, it comes down to if you plan to keep your car past the factory warranty, you're probably going to at least think about doing an extended warranty. And if you do, I strongly advise you to consider XCare, and I'm saying that as a satisfied 2-time XCare customer here. So get yourself $100 off your policy purchase by using the referral code LIGHTNING at checkout if you're buying online. Otherwise, if you're talking to somebody on the phone to get your policy, just mention the referral code LIGHTNING and they'll give you that $100 off. So the website is xcare.com. That's XCARE.com. And actually, I don't know if it's toll free, but the phone number you can call, it doesn't even matter anymore, right? Because we all have cell phones. We don't pay extra for long distance calls. So I think I just showed my age there. Like, you don't even, I'm old enough to remember when calls outside of your area cost extra money per minute. Anyway, their phone number where you can call and reach a human being to talk through any questions you may have about XCare. It's 1-844-755-4186. In other EV news, as I mentioned at the top of the show, Lucid has taken the wraps off of the next major expansion of its lineup, confirming 3 new midsize vehicles that will play a central role in the company's push into a more affordable segment of the EV market. Saw this one on Drive Tesla Canada, so a tip of the cap to them. Oh, Lily, we can't start with the squeak toy. We can't start with the squeak toy, not during the podcast. I gotta hang on to this. I have it now. Where's the squeak? I don't even know where. Oh, there it is. Found it. Okay. Mine now, pups. Anyway, thank you, Drive Tesla Canada, who notes, during its Investor Day event in New York, the EV maker revealed that its upcoming midsize platform will support at least 3 vehicles. The first 2 are now officially named the Lucid Cosmos and Lucid Earth, while a third model is still unnamed but will lean more heavily into off-road capability and adventure-focused design. For Lucid, this expansion is about more than just adding new nameplates. The company's built its reputation on high-end electric vehicles with industry-leading range, high performance, and impressive efficiency, but its lineup has so far remained limited and expensive. With the new midsize architecture, Lucid says it is targeting starting prices below $50,000, opening the door to a much larger portion of the market. Lucid says the Cosmos is aimed at buyers who want, quote, exceptional efficiency, space, and performance, end quote. Based on the teaser images shown, it appears to be the sleeker and more style-driven of the group, with a lower roofline and a more urban-focused design. The Earth, meanwhile, looks like a smaller interpretation of the Gravity, combining Lucid's familiar aerodynamic styling with a more conventional SUV silhouette. The third model remains the biggest mystery, but the company indicated it will target customers who want something more rugged and meant to appeal to outdoor-oriented buyers. Underneath all 3 models will be Lucid's new midsize platform and a next-generation electric drive unit called Atlas. Lucid says Atlas is smaller, lighter, and less complex than its existing drive units, with matching front and rear housings and mounts that are designed to simplify manufacturing and reduce costs. Lucid also said efficiency remains the centerpiece of the entire program. By building smaller, lighter, and more integrated vehicles, the company believes it can deliver strong range and performance using smaller battery packs, which is critical for keeping costs down in the midsize segment. So, they may have been announced, but if you're wondering, we still don't know what they look like. Lucid hasn't fully revealed the exteriors, or for that matter, the interiors of any of these 3 presumably midsize SUVs. Presumably they're all SUVs. I mean, based on the name alone, I could see the Cosmos maybe possibly being a sedan as sort of the the Model 3 to the Air's Model S. But then again, the market does seem very heavily biased in favor of wanting SUVs. So it may just be that all three are SUVs. Plus, as you heard, it's aimed at buyers who want exceptional efficiency, space, and performance. So space would maybe seem to rule out a sedan, but then again, tell that to the Model S, which has a ton of space thanks to its hatchback. But anyway, the Earth, as noted there, is almost certainly a midsize crossover SUV, and the third car, same thing, given that it's aimed at off-roaders. You know, for Lucid, I wish them nothing but the best. It's the same thing with Rivian. I want all of these EV-only startups to succeed. I mean, again, I want the legacy automakers to succeed at building EVs as well. Unfortunately, I'm going to have some bad news in that department after I get done talking about Lucid. But the thing with Lucid is, I don't think it's necessarily hyperbolic to say that the long-term viability of that company probably depends upon these three vehicles being successful, or at least this platform being successful, both in terms of sales, obviously, you want to see the success there, but also in terms of Lucid being able to build them profitably, right? It's the same huge challenge that Rivian is staring down right now with the R2 as they are about to enter production. I mean, Lucid has the added challenge of an extremely aggressive timeline for a company that just barely got the Gravity out the door like 4 months ago. So I'm not sure if their Saudi financial backers have the patience for the production gauntlet that Lucid's facing here, but I hope they do. I hope they do. I mean, it would be awesome to have a healthy and competitive Rivian in the more affordable EV market with the R2, and a healthy and competitive Lucid in the more affordable EV market with the Cosmos, the Earth, and a third car. So we shall see what happens there over the coming, well, I guess to start with, the rest of the year. The next step isn't production. The next step is actually just revealing the three vehicles and showing us what they look like. Now, speaking of Lucid, the company has announced that it's signed its first retail partnership in Europe, marking a shift in how the luxury electric vehicle manufacturer plans to expand its presence across the continent. One more tip of the cap to Drive Tesla Canada here. They write, Lucid confirmed it signed an agreement with German automotive retail group Wackenhut, which will begin selling and servicing Lucids in Germany later this month. The move represents the start of a new hybrid distribution strategy that combines Lucid's existing direct-to-consumer approach with partnerships through established dealer networks. Under the agreement, Wackenhut will launch Lucid sales and service operations at its Baden-Baden facility beginning on March 30th. A second location in Stuttgart is expected to follow later this summer. Additional Wackenhut sites across the region will also help support after-sales service and maintenance, expanding support for Lucid owners in Germany. Lucid previously relied exclusively on direct sales in Europe, operating company-owned Lucid Studios in cities such as Munich, Frankfurt, Dusseldorf, and Hamburg. These locations allow customers to explore the brand and purchase vehicles online, while Lucid's service centers and mobile service teams handle maintenance and repairs. The new hybrid model keeps key aspects of Lucid's sales strategy under company control, while leveraging local partners to grow more quickly. Lucid will continue managing brand positioning and vehicle pricing, while retail partners like Wackenhut will oversee regional sales and service operations. Quote, "We are entering the next phase of Lucid's journey in Europe, and we are pleased to launch this new distribution strategy with Wackenhut, a partner that shares our ambition to actively drive Lucid's growth in one of our most important markets, Germany," said Lawrence Hamilton, the president in Europe at Lucid. He continues, quote, "With 2 award-winning vehicles available. Now's the right moment, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, no, this is not a great quote. Anyway, Wackenhut is a family-owned dealer group headquartered in Nagold, Germany, with roots dating back to 1948. The company operates 11 locations across Baden-Württemberg and represents several premium... This story, by the way, is really testing my high school German. It's making me try to remember how to pronounce everything correctly, and hopefully I'm doing a so-so job out there. That's I'm doing my best, I promise you. Anyway, the company operates 11 locations and represents several premium automotive brands. Its facilities are already equipped to handle EVs and staffed with certified high-voltage technicians, making it well-positioned to support Lucid's growing lineup. Well, I'll tell you, this sounds like a smart strategy, at least on the surface, which is obviously all I can see sitting here, because it allows Lucid to expand its footprint in Europe, or at least in Germany, a lot more quickly than building out and staffing up its own owned and operated facilities in that country. So I wonder if that's a model that they might aim to replicate here in the US with existing dealership networks if it proves to be successful in Germany. I mean, I don't think it's out of the question for that to work here, particularly when we still have a number of states that have these archaic, in my opinion, unfair to customers dealer protection, franchise protection laws in some states that prevent Lucid, prevent Tesla, prevent Rivian from selling direct to consumers in some states. So maybe this model can be applied to in certain situations here in the US. Now, when my dream car from my youth that I was lucky enough to own for a while, when DeLorean Motor Company was gearing up to sell cars ahead of the DMC-12's launch back in 1981, you didn't find very many purely DeLorean dealers. Instead, they were sold at dealerships that also sold other cars, be they Cadillacs or what have you. Now, granted, back then, nobody even thought about going direct to consumer because really, back in the early 80s, there wouldn't have been any infrastructure for it, like, say, the internet, to make a direct to consumer sales model work. But my point is that I do hope this works out for Lucid, and I hope it enables them to scale more quickly and offer support to their existing customers more quickly than they would if they were keeping everything completely in-house. All right, 2 more stories. I hate to end on bad news, but these are both worth noting this week. I have 2 EV cancellation stories to tell you about. The first one's from Honda, which involves GM because it's a GM-Honda partnership. The Prologue EV is going away later this year. Saw this on GMauthority.com, who writes, the brief tenure of the Honda Prologue as the brand's sole EV in the US will conclude later this year, with General Motors slated to end production of the crossover at its Ramos Arizpa plant in December. According to Automotive News, Honda will not commission a second generation of the battery electric model, effectively pulling the plug, no pun intended, I guess, on the nameplate just 2 years after its market debut. The news is unsurprising following the announcement last fall that the Acura ZDX would be discontinued after just 1 model year. GM builds the Prologue for Honda under a shared platform agreement, utilizing the BEV3 platform to power the midsize utility vehicle. However, as Honda pivots its North American strategy away from EVs and back toward traditional and hybrid powertrains, the Prologue finds itself on borrowed time. Side note, this isn't going to end well for Honda. Honda's made great cars for decades. This is not a good move on their part. I know I'm biased as an EV owner and an EV fan on an EV podcast here, but this might be their BlackBerry moment where they're like, no, you know what? EVs, forget it. The market doesn't want those right now. So, I mean, hey, I don't want to doom and gloom too bad. They could certainly restart an EV program if they have a little bit more of a long-term vision and or the short-term market picks up for EVs, but this seems like not a great idea right now, but I guess time will tell on that. Anyway, getting back to GM Authority's story, let me find where I left off here. The automaker confirmed on March 12th that it's canceling plans for 3 upcoming US-built EVs, including the 0 Series SUV and the aforementioned Acura RSX, while writing down billions in associated costs. The move leaves the Honda Prologue as an orphaned product with no direct replacement in the pipeline. The decision blindsided some members of the supply chain. An executive at a Tier 1 supplier to Honda's EV program, speaking on the condition of anonymity, told Automotive News that his company had already installed equipment and started building parts for the now defunct RSX. Quote, "Equipment's on the ground, it's running, it's making product," the executive said. "We're trying to figure out how much we've got sunk in this," end quote. Honda acknowledged the impact in a memo to suppliers, stating it would backfill the lost volume by immediately accelerating production of gasoline and hybrid models. Sales data supports the pivot. After moving nearly 39,000 units in 2025, Honda Prologue volume collapsed 74% through the first part of 2026, following the elimination of the federal tax credit. Honda now anticipates selling just 17,900 examples this year before production winds down for good. Well, yes, it is true that it's tough out there right now for EVs. And by out there, I mean in the United States. Europe and China are not really having any such problems. And for my part, in my little corner of the world here, I do see a decent number of Prologue EVs around here, but obviously California is overrepresented in the overall figures for these things. So I'll say this, if you're BYD, you're licking your chops, right? Because any EV momentum that is lost, or in this case, abandoned at other companies, well, that benefits them right now, that they sell their cars almost everywhere in the world other than the US. And I suppose you could look at the cancellation of the Prologue EV as good news for Tesla and Rivian as well, with specific regard to the Model Y and the R2, respectfully. But as I've said before, I don't really look at it that way. Honda offering a good EV SUV, which by all accounts the Prologue is, that would only help convince more people out there to make the switch from a gas car to an electric car. There are plenty of Honda loyalists out there who would have felt comfortable making the leap to a Honda EV, but might not feel comfortable jumping brands for something totally new, which, as we all know, any EV really is. It's a paradigm shift. You are definitely learning a new language when you're switching from a gas car to a pure battery electric vehicle. So rest in peace soon, I guess, to the Prologue EV. It will sadly join the Model S and Model X in this year's 2026 EV graveyard. And unfortunately, this next car that I'm going to tell you about, the last story I have for you this week, will also join it in the EV, well, at least the US EV graveyard. TheDrive.com reports that the Volvo EX30 is dead in the United States. The most affordable electric Volvo in the US is about to die. The Drive can confirm US Volvo dealers were informed this week that the EX30 will be pulled from the market after the 2026 model year in both standard and cross-country form. All orders in the system will be produced, with production winding down for the US, after the summer. A Volvo spokesperson confirmed that dealers were informed of the decision, which cited, quote, a thorough evaluation of our business and operational strategies and is a direct response to shifting market conditions and financial factors, end quote. Dealers have until, well, today, as I'm recording this, March 20th, to place EX30 and EX30 cross-country orders. Volvo said the new EX60 and EX90 electric SUVs will continue in the US, with the EX60 set to launch later this year, and the 90 having just received enhancements for 2026. The Volvo EX30 will continue to be available in other markets globally, including Canada and Mexico. When asked if the EX30 will return to the US market, a Volvo spokesperson told The Drive, quote, we are always evaluating every aspect of our business, including our product offering, and will continue to monitor market conditions in line with our standard practice, end quote, which is one of the most PR statements I've ever heard, and I do this for a living. I'm very good at translating PR speak. That person just said nothing, which is fine. I mean, it's not like, it's not like they're going to say no, it's never coming back, because maybe in 2 years, if there's a government change, they decide, yep, okay, we're coming back to the US with the EX30, or there's not a change and they decide no, it's never. So they don't want to give a definitive answer. I totally get that. But I guess I don't have much to add here on top of what I just said about the Honda Prologue, except I will add this, just anecdotally. A neighbor friend of mine really wanted this car, the EX30, not so much for its price, although that certainly factored in, but for its size, for the fact that it was a smaller EV. It's smaller than the Model Y, meaning shorter, which they park their car on the street, they don't have a garage, so the length of the car was a very important consideration for them. And they had been waiting for it. They even at one point went to the Volvo dealer, and then they effectively couldn't get the car because the local, can't speak for everybody, but the local dealerships here in San Francisco were marking it up. This was at sort of the peak of, this was before the tax credit went away. So there was still a much more substantial hunger for any and all EVs. But again, any EV going away in any market is bad. Certainly it's the US EV market is looking not great right now, including Tesla with S and X going away, because S and X basically were only available in North America. But yeah, it's a little grim here right now. It just is. It's not awesome at the moment, and I hope this is just a temporary dip, and that we're gonna come out of this EV wise in the US. But again, like Volvo, just like Honda has a great reputation, Volvo has that very good reputation of being a safe car. So again, there are folks out there like my neighbor who would have felt comfortable enough with a Volvo EV to make that leap from gas to electric, but might not quite be willing to do so for a Tesla or a Rivian or a Ford or a Volkswagen. So sadly, another one bites the dust here in the US market. All right, that is everything I've got for you in another busy week of Tesla and EV news. Stick with me, though. Your Ride the Lightning Hotline phone calls are coming up next.
This is Bill Daniels, the voice of Night Industries 2000, or KIT. You're listening to Ride the Lightning, the Tesla unofficial podcast. Happy electric motoring.
Welcome to the Ride the Lightning Hotline segment of the podcast. This is where you can potentially be featured on an upcoming episode by calling in with your Tesla or EV questions, comments, or discussion topics. So how do you do it? Well, there are two easy ways to call in. Either use your smartphone's built-in voice recording software. Just record your question. I kindly ask that you keep it to 90 seconds or less so I can get to as many calls each week as possible. Then email that file to me at my podcast email address, which is teslapodcast@gmail.com. Or you can take that same 90-second or less question and call in and leave a message anytime on the Ride the Lightning hotline. That toll-free number is 1-888-989-8752. That number again, 1-888-989-TSLA. And if you know someone special out there with an upcoming birthday, anniversary, graduation, or some other special occasion, you can give them a unique gift of recorded voices from friends and family telling them why they're special. The recordings can be podcasted like I do with them or put onto a keepsake. Visit lifeonrecord.com to learn more. First up this week, speaking of the Model YL, our headline story, here is a listener who has actually lived with one for 5 days. Here's Ryan from Melbourne, Australia.
Hey Ryan, absolutely love listening to your show every week. I have just had the pleasure of trying out the new Model YL for 5 days here in Australia, putting it through its paces with our family and just trying to work out who it would appeal to. And it took me a few days, but I did come to realize that this car is just incredibly well thought out. Tesla have done an amazing job, including on the price here. It's very compelling. So yeah, it really impressed me, and I just wanted to call in and share that with your audience because I know everyone in the US is eagerly awaiting whether they will, bring the YL to your market, which surely, given how good this car is and how well I think it's already selling here in Australia and New Zealand, that it's on its way. So yeah, fingers crossed for you guys. In the meantime, I'm probably going to need to be ordering one for our family. Hope all's well. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Fellow Ryan, I appreciate you calling in. Thank you so much. How cool that you got to review it for your YouTube channel, which, by the way, if anybody out there wants to watch it, I did watch the whole thing. It's an excellent review. It's a very family-focused review, which I think is quite perfect since this variant of the Model Y is no doubt particularly aimed at families. You can find it by searching Ryan's Model Y. That's the name of his channel. And then from there, you will quite easily find his Model YL video. So thank you, Ryan, for that. So glad you got such good extended amount of time. 5 days with the car. You really got to live with it. That is awesome. Next up is Santi from Spain with a feature idea.
Hello, Ryan. This is Santi from Spain. I think one of the features that could be improved in the car could be the charging scheduling. So, for example, I normally charge my car at night, and I put full amps for the night. But on weekends, I can also charge at lower rates. So, but I don't want to charge at full amps during the weekends, so as not to interfere with the rest of the electronics of my house. So I would love to be able to schedule during the night at full amps, like I do right now, but during the weekend with lower amps, so I don't get out of electricity in the weekends. Thank you for the podcast. Sorry for my English, and thank you. See you. Bye-bye.
Santi, your English is fantastic, and I'll tell you this, it's a heck of a lot better than my Spanish, I promise you that. I appreciate your suggestion here. Our Teslas already give us so much control over how and when we charge that this would be another nice optional detail to be able to customize. So thank you for the excellent suggestion. I am happy to put this out into the world here on Ride the Lightning and hopefully help get it heard by the right folks at Tesla. Thank you very much for your call. I do appreciate it. I've got time for one more call this week. It comes from Nelson in Texas with another feature request.
Hey, Ryan. How are you? This is Nelson from Killeen, Texas. Just a random thought I had. My wife is driving my car right now, And I asked her when she parked, "Oh, did you use FSC the whole way?" We have a 2025 Model 3 with the latest FSC hardware on it, or software, I should say. And one thing I kind of wish that I could see was when I checked the app is that if the car is on FSC, if it had like a little blow icon or whatever, how it has when you're driving and has a little underglow. I think that'd be a little cool submission that Tesla could include. But thanks. Love the podcast.
This is a great suggestion, Nelson, and I am happy to co-sign this one here on the podcast. I think it'd be even more useful as autonomy continues to improve and becomes more commonly and frequently used as well. Thank you for calling in with this one. Appreciate you sending it. And again, hopefully we get the right folks at Tesla to hear it. If any of you out there would like to call in, again, with a discussion topic, question, comment, etc., there are 2 easy ways to do it, and I gave you those 2 easy ways at the top of this segment, so refer back to that. As for what's going on with me and my cars this week, well, both are quite dusty, and as the good weather continues to bless my neck of the woods, I am intending to wash them both this weekend and hopefully get out and do some driving, just enjoying the good weather. Even though the heat wave's over, it's still forecasted to be in the low 70s this weekend. So I most certainly cannot complain, and it'd be good to get out and do some driving once the cars are all nice and sparkling clean. All right, time for a pro tip of the week. It comes from Daniel in Bellingham, Washington.
Hey Ryan, I have a response and possible pro tip for the chivalrous gentleman from episode 547. I think that's the right episode. He was complaining about the walk-away lock feature triggering between exiting the front driver's side door and opening the outside of the passenger side door for his significant other. And through a little bit of trial and error, I found that if you walk around the front side of the vehicle, then it will trigger walk-away lock before you can make it from one side to the other. But if you walk around the back side of the vehicle, it gives you a little bit more time, so I can almost always make it from one side to the other to grab my bag. I'm not as chivalrous as that gentleman. It works for my Model Y Juniper. Your mileage may vary if you have another kind of Tesla, but I figure it's worth a shot. All right, thank you. Have a great day.
Daniel, I really, really appreciate you testing this out and then calling in with it. Seriously, thank you. Thank you for running the experiment, getting us some reliable data on this. I am happy to pass this along to everybody out there, myself included, because again, as I said on the initial response to the first caller, I have run into this as well on my 2024 Model 3. So thank you, Daniel. If anybody else out there has a good Tesla or EV pro tip of the week that you'd like to share with me and your fellow Tesla and EV owners and enthusiasts, I'd love it if you would call in and share it. The way to call in, again, mentioned the 2 easy call-in methods at the top of the previous Ride the Lightning hotline segment, so you can refer back to that or just check the episode description for those instructions as well. Before I go, I want to mention a few friends of Ride the Lightning that can hopefully be useful to you at some point, starting with abstractocean.com. They've got, I think it probably actually is thousands, not hundreds. There are so many aftermarket accessories, lighting kits, tempered glass, Gorilla Glass screen protectors, just all kinds of stuff for the interiors of your car, the exterior of your car, just a ton of great accessories. You got to go check it out, see if anything catches your eye. All you got to do is go to abstractocean.com, click on whichever EV you have at the top of the page, then it will show you all of the products available. Take anything you like, put it in your online shopping cart, and then use the coupon code RTLPodcast at checkout to get 15% off of your first order. That coupon code again is RTLPodcast, all one word with no spaces. Meanwhile, RPM Tesla, they've got a ton of Tesla accessories as well. Different stuff than what they've got over at Abstract Ocean in the sense that RPM Tesla is more about visual enhancement stuff, wheel upgrades, dashboards, spoilers, full carbon fiber body kits, and a whole bunch more. You got to take a look at their website as well, rpmtesla.com. And with them, you're buying with confidence because they do not charge restocking fees or require customers to pay for return shipping for dissatisfaction. Why? Well, their product return rate's less than 3%, which certainly speaks well of their products and thus allows them to offer free returns, zero restocking fees, and lifetime warranties. RPM Tesla believes selling high-quality products and standing behind them fosters brand loyalty. They've also got tons, literally hundreds of installation videos. So installing their products is simple and detailed for everybody. Visit rpmtesla.com and use the promo code RPMRTL for an additional 5 to 10% off your next order. Yes, this will be combined with their current discounted sales prices. This exclusive promotion's only available on Ride the Lightning. Thank you to RPM Tesla for extending that generosity to the Ride the Lightning audience. How about the Infinity Shield? This is the garage door sensor product that will help ensure that you never have a mishap in your garage. The traditional garage door sensor, as you all know, is one little laser that sits a couple inches off the ground. So if, say, your car is between, if the wheels are between the halfway in and halfway out of your garage door sensor's not going to have any idea that there's something blocking. Same thing if your car is, say, all the way in the garage, but your rear liftgate is up. Your traditional garage door sensor can't see that either. So get yourself an Infinity Shield at infinity-shield.com. Use the promo code RTL at checkout for a $35 discount. So what is the Infinity Shield? It is a full laser grid. Instead of just one laser a couple inches off the ground, it's 25 beams. They go across, they go diagonally. It is awesome. Check them out at infinity-shield.com. And again, use that promo code RTL at checkout for a $35 discount. Make sure that you never have, hopefully you've never had one, but make sure that you will definitely never have one ever, because you've got yourself that full coverage Infinity Shield. The Snap Plate and the newer, stronger Snap Plate Plus is available for all the Teslas, plus a bunch of other EVs as well. Go to everyamp.com/RTL and use the coupon code RTL for a nice discount. This is a front license plate bracket that snaps on and off in seconds, but it's a nice, clean, minimalist design, blends really well with the front end of your car. You can take it off if you're going to a car show, Cars and Coffee, something like that. Put it on if you're going to be at a parking meter somewhere. You don't want the parking enforcement people to come around and ticket you. You can take it off if you're detailing the car at home, whatever it is. You can have faith that the snap plate is going to look good and be removable if you ever want to take it off, unlike the front license plate bracket that comes with your Tesla. So, to get yours, again, go to everyamp.com/RTL and make sure to use the coupon code RTL when you've got everything you like in your shopping cart there as well. Immaculate Reflections, if you're in or going to be in the greater San Francisco Bay Area with a car that you love, whether it's your Tesla, other EV, or some other fun vehicle in your garage, make an appointment at Immaculate Reflections, and I promise you, you will leave happy when your car is done. Maybe you want to do ceramic coating so that you don't have to worry about waxing for the next 3 to 5 plus years. In my case, it was 7 years on the first ceramic coating. Second coat's on there now, and of course, my newer Model 3 Performance, that ceramic coating is only a year and a couple months old, so should have plenty of life left in that as well. Maybe you want to do paint correction to have your paint finish perfected as much as possible. Take all those little swirls and imperfections, little minor scratches and whatnot, take them right out. A professional knows what they're doing, like Immaculate Reflections, will have your paint finish looking better than new. Maybe you'd like paint protection film on some of the car, the front end, maybe all the entire car. Whatever the case is, reach out to Immaculate Reflections through the website, which is irdetailing.com. You'll see a contact button in either the middle of the homepage or the upper left corner of the homepage. When you click that and get in touch with Jeff, the owner there, just mention, you can talk about let him know what your budget is, what services you're looking to do. Jeff will work with you, figure out what's going to work best for you and your budget. And that's when you want to mention that you're a Ride the Lightning listener, and he'll kindly extend you that Ride the Lightning listener discount. So again, check him out on his website, irdetailing.com. You can also find him on Instagram. His handle is immaculate_reflections, or he's on a Yelp page too, yelp.com/immaculate reflections. Meanwhile, my Patreon page is found at patreon.com/Tesla podcast. If you feel that this is the time has come where I have earned your support, because I know I've got to earn it. That's why I'm here week in, week out, every week on time, 555 weeks and counting. Really proud of that. Really grateful to be able to do that as well. And again, I love doing this. It is super fun for me. I wouldn't still be doing it 10 years on if it wasn't fun for me. But a lot does go into this podcast. A lot of time, lots of research, lots of recording, editing, lots of love and care and attention. So if you can spare $5 a month to back me on Patreon, you'd be making a huge difference in my life and my family's life. And in return, as a thank you, you will get an ad-free episode every week, and you'll get early access to that ad-free episode as well. If you step up to the $10 per month tier, which is the most popular one, you'll get the early access, ad-free, and you'll get all 185 and counting of those lightning round mini episodes. So check it out, patreon.com/Tesla podcast. We've also got an open discussion there as well, kind of basically like a sort of a Discord channel where we've got a nice active discussion going about all things Tesla, all things EV related. So come on in and join the Patreon. Finally, you can find this podcast, you can follow it specifically on all the big podcast services, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, YouTube Podcasts. All you got to do is search Ride the Lightning Tesla on any of those. This podcast should pop right up. Click the follow button and that's it. You're done. Now you'll get a push notification on your device whenever there's a new episode, which for this podcast is every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Pacific. You can follow me on X as well as Instagram. I have the same username on both, and that username is DMC_Ryan. You can also email me anytime about Tesla or EV related things at teslapodcast@gmail.com. And lastly, I'd like to say hello and thank you to the top tier Patreon backers. These folks are extra generous supporting the podcast at these two Maximum Plaid and Roadster in Space tiers. They get lots of little perks and bonuses for that, which includes getting a shout out at the end of each week's show. They also have a standing invite to each month's Patreon Zoom hangout. We always have a great time at those. I guess we won't be talking about the Roadster reveal at the April hangout, since we tend to do them early in the month, but hopefully the May hangout will finally be the one. And I anticipate whenever that does happen, that's going to be a fun hangout, because everybody in there knows how long I've been waiting, how long we've all been waiting to see what the heck's going on with that car. Anyway, let me go ahead now and say thank you and hello to those top tier backers. I'll start with the Roadster in Space tier. Thank you to Pete White, Lyle Austin, Steve Radspinner, Fernando Cordero, Lawton from Chicago, Sean Neidig, Neil Weaver, Jackson Wallace, Rolf and Jennifer Evers, Howard Anthony Smith, Victoria Iacovetto, Tesla Hitchhiker 42, Carol Weston, Robert from near Philly, American Home Contractors, Doug Carey, Michael Gallo, and Tony Figueroa. Next up, the Maximum Plaid. Big thanks to Jonathan Wales, Cameron Clark, Daniel Grummer, Seth Capello, the Galpin family, Ryan from New York City, Darren Nickel, Kaz Barnes, Patrick Wisniewski, Todd Badger, Joe Edgel, Kevin Yank, the Tesla Owners Club of San Joaquin Valley, Will Stedman, Jeremy Harris, Chris Beach, Tom Mills, Corey O'Donnell, Aaron, John Cody, Joel Sapp, Paul Casarino, Chris Osborne, KB, Adam Lavoie, Jason Chalukas, Travis Krenzel, Bruce Otterstein, Tom Behan, Josh Pennington, John from Cream Ridge, New Jersey, Dustin Hart, Derek Finley, Charles Clement, Damon Klein, Jeff Brown, Jerry Slinger, Kenneth Corbett, Brian Bertoglio, Kim Bay, Troy Sievers, Chip Hooper, Matt Chinander, Robert Moran, Rav, Christopher Mann, Michael Williams, Eric Harbert, and Scott Shepper. And finally, the grandfathered in plaid tier. This plaid, that tier is no more, but these kind folks very generously continue to support me at that tier, and so they get all the perks and bonuses that come with it, including this shout out each week. So thank you to George Cassiopo, Logan Willis, Peter Chalet, Eric Randolph, Dory and Steve Guberman, the Tesla Owners Club of Taiwan, Ron Lee, Charlie Gillespie, Jeff Angwin, Chase Cabanillas, the Lydia family, Aaron Altschul, Jared Brown, Jamie Dalton, Mike and Barbara from Louisville, Matt Nixon, the Tesla Owners Club of Wisconsin, Ish, not Elon Musk in quotes, Peter, and the Bear Boys of Colorado. And that will wrap it up for episode 555, the palindromatic episode here for this, the next couple months of Ride the Lightning. I hope you've enjoyed this one. I've had a lot of fun recording this one after working all week to prepare it. Thank you all so much for your time, your attention. Those are limited quantity things. Nobody ever gets more of them. We all only have the same 24 hours each day. So thank you for taking some of your valuable time to spend it with me talking about all things Tesla and EV. Happy electric motoring, my friends, and I'll see you back here next week.
Elon Musk, people don't like Elon Musk. The guy founded PayPal and Tesla, and people are like, yeah, but he's a troll and a bad dad. I'm like, so was mine. He did nothing to fight climate change. Also, have you been in a Tesla? Have you been in a Tesla? My buddy let me drive his Tesla. I laughed out loud at how fast it went. Been clinically depressed my entire life, on dozens of medications, in a Tesla for 13 seconds, cured forever.
I mean, I think a Tesla is the most fun thing you could possibly buy ever. That's what it's meant to be. Our goal is to make it's not exactly a car. It's actually a thing to maximize enjoyment. It's maximum fun.